What does freedom mean to you? Does it mean the freedom to choose? The freedom to have a family and raise your kids according to your own values? What about living a wild, adventurous life, experimenting with music, relationships, or art? What does freedom really mean? What if freedom meant something that only a few Americans still understood? What if it meant that your choices and your values were set by you, rather than by some politician in a far-off capital? Some people think we're only free to choose to live exactly how they live, by their moral code, or their narrow worldviews. But if liberty means anything, it means that you, and you alone, have the power to exercise your rights to which the laws of nature and nature's God granted you. It's time to put these principles back into action. It's time to restore the American dream, activate in our communities, and take our country back. It's time to wake up, America. Good morning, Rise in Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson, and you're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show. Happy Friday. Is everybody excited? Oh, thank God. Feels like my Monday just because I was gone for a few days, so I kind of like dragging this morning. I had 3 flights yesterday to make it back from Towson, Maryland. Did you miss me? Did you guys? What is that? Come on, you need to get in a better mood, and you need to have a cup of coffee. I know something that'll brighten your day. How about Family Friday? My lovely Steffi Peterson joining us. Good to see you, Steffi.
Excited.
I'm
So excited.
so scared.
I love Saved by the Bell.
Oh yeah, great show. Thanks so much for joining us today, Stephanie.
You're welcome. I missed you.
Yes,
The dogs missed you.
it's nice to have you here. We've already got some exciting chat messages happening over on Facebook.
Say.
Oh my God, it's pretty wild. It's because when we do the chat, the live chat on the show, which pops up, it brings it in from Facebook, from Twitch, and from YouTube. And some like religious person is over there posting like walls of text on Facebook as part of the stream. Yes,
Those interesting messages I feel like are from Twitch.
we do get some.
People are a little rebellious.
They are, yeah. Well, they're usually younger and they're a little bit more mischievous. Good morning. Good
I
morning.
guess the Facebook users are very religious.
They tend. It looks like they are.
Yes.
Good morning to Joni Rankin, Obama bin Laden. Good morning, Michael Nip, Robbie Thurman, Terry Miller, and Chris Morrill. Tolly Owens is here this morning.
Hi,
to see you.
Holly.
We don't usually. Do we usually see Tolly at the beginning of the show like that? I thought she always kind of joins us a little bit later.
Sending out.
Good. Well, it's nice to see you, Tolly. Appreciate everybody coming in and joining us this morning. Did you get to watch the debate? What did you think? How was it?
I did.
Well, we're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show at 7:30 this morning. We're going to talk about it. And apparently, I was debating a homophobic, bigoted. What was it they described her as?
She said she's, oh gosh, I'll have to look it up again, but definitely she said she's, homophobic, anti-Semitic, bigoted. Yeah, I couldn't believe it that she would admit all these things about herself, and she's pro-Russia. And she loves McClintus.
Dude, it's the L. She took L after L after L with that, and then she decided to debate me, and it was just like, I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. Do you want me to say what I really feel, or do you want me to be humble?
I mean, I don't know. Is there anything you can really lose at this point?
I mean, no. Well, people. The problem is that in this line of work, people don't like an asshole, right? So it's like they don't want they want you to be humble and be magnanimous in victory. But I mean, I
I did see some comments about that in the live stream
don't
during
be
the
smug,
debate.
Austin. Don't be smug. And it's like,
Mhm.
dude, I'm Dana. I'm going up against a Nazi. So,
Right.
I mean, can I do a little bit of that? I mean, come on.
I don't know how you can't be even a little bit triggered by someone like that. I mean, imagine me as a Jew talking to her,
Okay, so
knowing that she's against me.
yeah, I wanted to go the Jew angle there, but I didn't have enough time. They kept cutting me off. But
Yeah.
no.
That's another funny thing.
Nah, dude. I sliced and diced her. Cut.
did.
I gave her like that little thing where you cut across the belly right there, and then the guts spill out and stuff. So the guts are just hanging there, so that you're still alive while you're being eaten.
Yeah, you clearly have a lot more presidential debates under your belt than she
Well,
does.
yes, but it was fun, and it was funny because we did go out to dinner the night before and stuff like that, and she was
Mhm.
just telling me all about herself and all about her beliefs. So the next,
Was she like, "Hi, I'm homophobic. Nice to meet you."
no, but I mean, you just assume it. If somebody's a follower of Nick Fuentes, then you can imagine it. But I mean, she's also half black, and African Americans are not known for their love of the LGBT community.
Yeah. I was just surprised about that she is a black woman, but yet she's against all these other
I remember making the
minorities.
joke. I was like, when your people send off people to the camps, just remember they're going to save the last train car for you. Anyways, it was good. We're going to talk more about that at 7:30 today. But frankly, we've got more pressing news than just my own political debate and me patting myself on the back. All right, in just a few minutes, we're going to talk about a big story. Fashion designer Sam Brinton. Did you see this guy who worked for Joe Biden, and he was like he worked for like the Department of Energy, and his job was like nuclear waste disposal,
Yes,
and
yeah, he's non-binary.
he got busted for stealing this Vera Bradley bag, I think two from
Lots of bags. I
yeah,
feel like he went to multiple airports.
went to multiple airports, stole Vera
Mhm.
Bradley bags. He would like not go, he would not check a bag, and then he would leave with a bag, and they would, I mean, airports have more cameras than any place on earth, and you're gonna
Yeah,
go steal bags while you work for the Biden administration? I mean, it's like you're so stupid.
I know, I know. I did see a joke on the internet before, though, that it's like in order to get on the airplane, you have to go through TSA and all the security. But then at the very end, they're just like anarchists with your luggage. They're like, here you go, take one.
Yeah,
We're not gonna later.
well, what's funny is that they found the woman that he stole the luggage from, and she's like a fashion designer.
She is, and she could not show her pieces because he stole them.
Well, okay, we're gonna talk about it. All right, just wait. Let me finish. Let me set up the rest of the show. We've also got Joy Behar, who said essentially that if you voted for Donald Trump, then you get what you deserve, and he's Palestine. I was I was shocked because when I first heard her say that, or when I first heard the news that she said that, oh, it was before Joy Behar actually said that I remember thinking, people were starting to talk on the internet. Well, the reason why they are not helping these people is because these people largely voted for Trump. And I,
Right.
and I, and I heard that and I was shocked, and I was like, "There's no way." And then it started to sink in, and I started to think, "Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, the left actually might be that way." And then Joy Behar said it. She said the quiet part out loud. And that's when I knew that I was like, "Oh, wow," because
This is
pure
really
yeah,
happening.
it's not just the Nazis on the far right that we have to look out for. It's, the left hates us and wants us dead. And very clearly has stated so. We'll talk about that, and I'll play that clip at 7:18 this morning. Then at 7:30 we'll talk about the turning point debate against the
Mhm.
National Socialists. At 8 o'clock this morning, Attorney General Kim Gardner is embattled. The governor of the state of Missouri and the Attorney General are demanding that St. Louis Attorney Kim Gardner step down. She's refused to complete many of her cases. Her caseload is piling up, and she's not completed many of the basic job duties that she's supposed to do. For those who don't know Kim Gardner, she's a corrupt George Soros funded prosecutor here in the state of Missouri in St. Louis, one of the most corrupt cities, dangerous, crime filled cities in the entire country. Kim Gardner could have a major impact on cleaning that city up, but of course, she has refused to do so. And I argue that that is for political reasons. That's my own opinion on
Is
it.
that the reason for everything nowadays?
Yeah, the reason why
Mhm.
you don't go and help American citizens in Ohio who are suffering under an environmental disaster. Where the is Greta Thunberg? You know what I mean?
I know,
How dare
right?
you?
Boots
Yeah.
on the ground.
Yeah, exactly.
Hello.
Here's an environmental disaster. Where are all the environmentalists? Where's Leonardo DiCaprio? Right.
Exactly.
And what was crazy about this train disaster too is they tell them that they're like, "Oh, the water's safe to drink," but they won't drink it. Like the officials will say, "Yeah, come on down, it's okay, drink the water," but they're
Of
not going to show
course.
up on camera and drink it themselves, right?
That's
Anyways,
what always
we'll get there.
happens.
We'll get there. We'll get there. And then later on the program, we saw this woman who's out there. She's 170 pounds. She
Yes.
says that she's a jaw-dropping, gorgeous woman,
She's
and
5'5".
who am I to judge, right? Like, because all women, you're beautiful at any
Just the way
size.
you
You
are,
love you
even with
just the
stretch
way
marks in
you
the
are.
Victoria's Secret
That's what
ads.
we'll all
Yeah.
say, of course, right? Because no one can tell women anything. How dare you? No one can criticize you, and everyone is beautiful except for men who have to struggle and fight for everything just to survive, right?
That's right.
We're still running on a compliment from 1999. Thanks so much for watching the Wake Up America show. You can send us a text at 573.
I like your shirt.
Thank you very much. I appreciate
Talking
that.
about compliments.
See, there we go. I got a compliment. There we go.
One more compliment since
There
1999.
you go. 573-319-1586 is the text line. I've been told that I say that number too fast. But here's the deal. If you've heard the show before, you should have that text line punched up into your phone so you can just do, text AP.
Emergency contact
Yeah,
list.
put it on. Exactly. So you can call me and find out what's going on.
Or in the hospital,
Alter
AP can be your advocate.
There you go. Well, here's the deal. If you if you want to text us for free and have your text read on air, that's the way to do it for free. Of course, you can always support the show with super chats, and that's a great way
Super
to
chats.
super chats. Da, da, da,
Super
da.
chats, y'all.
Yes, and that's a way to do it, not for free, but it's nice to see you all. Mary Kramer, Buddy Mansour, Anna Maxa, and Matt Unruh joining us this morning. Nice to see you here today. Okay, so let's do it. Let's pull up Sam Brinton. I've got the pictures of the tweets from Sam of him wearing these.
Very interesting looking. Well, I'm sorry, he's non-binary, so they are a very interesting looking
Don't do that to me, Stephanie. I can't understand what the hell you're talking about when you do that stuff. All right, so here's the tweet. I've got it pulled up. You can see here's Sam Brinton with his bag. Now, the woman on the left right there is the designer. You can see
She's
that
wearing the
picture.
outfit
And she's
that she designed.
she's wearing the outfit that she designed because they're all custom designs. This is a fashion designer based in Houston. She claims that Sam Brinton wore her custom made clothes that she reported missing back in 2018. And yes, Sam Brinton does identify as non-binary, uses the they them profile.
I was right.
You're right. Yep. The Biden administration had previously kind of celebrated his appointment as like the first gender fluid senior government official.
Right.
But this woman who is a Tanzanian fashion designer lost her bag in 2018 at Reagan National Airport. She says she found images of Brinton wearing my custom made outfits, which were in the lost bag. She had flown to Washington, D.C. to attend an event where she was supposed to display her fashions. And then the disappearance of her clothing prevented her from participating.
Honestly, if I had such valuable items,
Yeah.
I would put them in my carry-on. I really would. This actually happened to me recently at the airport. Okay. It's kind of morbid, but I had my grandparents, they're both deceased now, and I had taken some items back with me to Missouri, and they were trying to get me to check my carry-on bag right before I got on the plane. And I said, no, I'm not checking my bag. And they're like, ma'am, you need to make your bag smaller. So I'm like, do you want me to start taking items out and carry them? And they're like, ma'am, check your bag. And I'm like, no. I'm like, I have my grandmother's items. She just died. I am taking this bag on the plane.
Steffi doesn't.
I don't want a man like Sam Brinton to take my grandmother's stuff.
Yeah, Steffi doesn't take like crap from the TSA.
Oh.
She's not going to do that.
I do carry-on bags for a reason.
Yeah, I'm loving these memes here. These I'm posting some up right now on the live stream. They can see Sam Brinton still wearing their clothes. Mostly peaceful memes. Has some really good ones here.
Clothes don't even look good on him.
Well, okay. So name. Okay, so I'm sure our chat can answer this for us. Name a time a man has actually looked good in a dress.
Oh, in Tootsie.
Okay,
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Okay,
There you go.
I think Tootsie. Those are terrible examples because they were both ugly as hell. I mean, the whole joke in Tootsie was that Dustin Hoffman's character was so ugly that they were like, "How far back can you pull the camera?" And he's like, "How about Cleveland?"
Tootsie at least looked better than Sam Brinton. I think it's the bald head for Sam. It's just not going well for him.
Okay, you stomped on my comedy line, on my punchline there on the show. All right, loving these memes here. We've got Sam Brinton where they're talking about she says she lost my bag, and it's got Sam Brinton as a communist Bugs Bunny saying our bag. Very funny. We like that one. But yeah, you could see the pictures of the woman who had her clothes stolen. Poor lady.
He looked at the tag and saw her name and was like, "Ooh, fashion design."
Yeah, here's one of him, Sam Brinton dressed up as a flight attendant. He says he does all of his Christmas shopping at the airport.
Oh my gosh.
Don't mind if I do. Sam Brinton grabbing a bag and taking off. He wore it a lot, apparently. There's a lot of pictures of him. Somebody is sharing like Shutterstock photos of him at public events, Trevor Live, and things like that.
Maybe he's going to be helping this fashion designer in the end get more sales, right?
For sure.
He's our
Absolutely.
advertisement. He's
Oh,
doing
yeah.
these people a favor.
Well, I mean, no, because she wasn't able to participate in that original fashion show, but you can see.
That's how much it really would have done for her, right?
For sure, for sure.
I'm just joking.
No, but you're right. You're right. Like,
Siding with the thieves over here.
well, no, but I mean, here's the thing. You're right in that she's going to get a lot of attention from this, and that she's probably going to sell a lot more clothes. But the thing is I guess my question here is, how stupid do you have to be to think you're not going to get caught?
You know,
You're,
that's
I mean, you're under so
Yeah.
much scrutiny, right? Like
Yeah.
there were the right was going after this guy way before he was this public figure. They were going after this guy, and I guess he's been stealing these bags. He's probably a kleptomaniac. And then
probably.
he shows it off in public, like, and it's such a unique item. You think no one is gonna find out who you are? Like,
Right.
you can't get away with anything anymore. You can't get away with anything in the modern age.
Even common people who aren't in the spotlight, we can barely get away with anything.
Yeah.
But that does boggle my mind. I remember when Winona Ryder was shoplifting. I
Mhm.
remember when she was in the news for that. And it's like celebrities do these bad things all the time, and they just I don't know why they do it. Maybe they're just tired of being in the spotlight and they just want to be normal for once.
Yeah, well, I don't think so. I think that typically the type of people that get ahead in society are the people who are messed up, right?
Mhm.
Because they're just more interesting,
Oh yeah.
right? Celebrities, the reason like why celebrities are often so weird or strange is because people are fascinated by it. It's like, you love that show. What is it? Love on a Spectrum?
Oh
These are not,
yes.
they're
It's
not
about people who have autism who are dating.
right. Nobody wants to watch a show about normal people, right?
Right.
Normal people are boring. We want to watch autistic people be goofy and awkward and weird. Right?
Exactly.
So we sort of, it's kind of like Jersey Shore or, those are not normal people.
People who are living lives that we're probably never going to live.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
so we live vicariously through them. I mean, there are probably a lot of Sam Brintons out there, right? And there are probably a lot of people who are fascinated by Sam Brinton. They're probably, you know what? It's just like those women who will send letters to men who are in prison and stuff like that and like fall in love with them and have relationships with them because there's just something so fascinating about an outlaw that people really love it. I don't know why, but especially women are attracted to like the outlaws for sure and the bad boys, the boys in prison and stuff. But I
Sense
mean,
of fear.
right. But Sam Brinton probably has a fan base of people who like him even more now after it's found out that he's a kleptomaniac. And, they're going to attempt to return from grace because the thing is that once you get to a powerful enough position in media or in politics here in the United States, you only fail in one direction. You fail up. Once you pass a threshold of a certain amount of notoriety,
Yeah.
you can commit sexual assault. You can commit crimes, felonies. It's like that.
Bill Clinton, he was
Right.
with Monica Lewinsky and he's still respected in the world.
Yeah, Blair White, Robbie Thurman says, is someone who can wear a dress and look feminine. Okay, I'm always like Blair White always like she makes me uncomfortable because like the thing is
She making you hot?
well, no, but I'm just no. Here's the thing is my thing with Blair White is the problem is that whenever I see her on my phone, like will pop up her media, it'll always like cut it off, so it's like it'll be like from the chin down, right? And I don't necessarily. I know a lot of people who are always like, "Oh, check the Adam's apple, dude. Check the Adam's apple," but I never, for some reason, check the Adam's apple. My eyes always go to the boobs.
Yeah.
And so the problem is that because she has excellent boobs, it's like immediately I like check the boobs and I'm like, oh wow, I'm like, this chick is hot. And it's like, and then I scroll up and I'm like, no, it's Blair White. Why do you do this to me? Why do you do this
Do the
to
boobs
me?
make the woman or does the woman make the boobs?
I think the woman makes the boobs. Let's be honest here. The woman makes the boobs. But I just really hate it that I keep getting catfished by Blair White. I'm just like, stop it, Blair. No, please. You need to have this. They need to wear a yellow star. They need to have some. We need to force them to wear some kind of like an identifying, like put a patch on them before.
Oh, it's the
Before
opposite of what she wants.
Well, no, and then my debate partner, of course, will use that as an identifiers before she sends them off to the camps.
Mhm. Exactly.
And before she sends you off to the camps, apparently. She didn't have anything nice to say about the Jews. Did you notice that? That my
Notice I was really trying to pick up on her real opinion of the Jews. It just seemed like she didn't feel sorry for them at all or anything.
she thinks that she's like a lot of National Socialists thinks that the Jews control everything and
Yeah.
that the
She's
Jews
like, they've got it. They're
and that they're
fine.
marginalizing Christianity. I can't wait to talk about the debate at 7:30, but like
Mhm.
remind me to talk about how I got her when she's like Christianity is being pushed aside in this country. I'm like, what is the religion of the current commander in chief? She's like
Catholic.
Roman Catholic.
Yeah.
I'm like, isn't that your religion? It's not. So wait, our religion's being marginalized, but literally the most powerful man in the world shares your faith, right?
Uh-huh.
And she was just like, brain boiling, trying to figure out. God, it was so much fun. All right, we'll talk about that at 7:30, and it was a good moment. I appreciate that. Thank you. Wish you guys were there in person. Anyways, so we're going to talk now about Joy Behar of The View. Did you see this? This is the title story
I
here.
did. And
This
I found out
is
she's 80 years old. She looks amazing.
Shut up. Don't say that. Can only say mean things about her. You could somebody texted us a picture, video, not a picture, or a video. No, they texted us the world's smallest political quiz over there. I used to do that.
Oh,
I
is it
used
still the same one from years
Yeah,
ago?
from the Advocate.
They need to update that.
Yeah, they do. It's the world's smallest political quiz, like shows that everybody's a libertarian though. So I'm kind of like, it's tough to sort of say that it's
Something I
necessarily
don't
true.
know about myself.
Yeah, good point. All right, so where's my Joy Behar son? Oh yeah, the View audience loudly gasps when Joy Behar tells Trump voting East Palestine, "That's who you voted for." All right, let me play that clip and send up our Twitter site for you all. All right, here we go. This is Joy Behar, who Stephanie thinks looks fantastic.
Lay down regulations for a second, because it seems to me that the Republicans are obsessed with this notion of the free market, and they don't like a lot of regulations.
Because it means profit. When you deregulate, you get profit.
But I know.
Part of deregulation,
for example,
was reducing the workers,
there were very few plane crashes. Thank God. And that's because the industry is highly regulated. We have to pay for regulations and safety standards. Otherwise, where are we? We're all going to go up in flames.
Norfolk Southern gives as much to Democrats as Republicans. It's a very powerful lobby that is trying to block regulation. And this train, to Sarah's point, 2 miles long with 2 full-time employees and a trainee on it.
And they didn't even need to, because the last administration rolled it down to only one worker. They happened to have 2.
One thing I just want to say is I do think this was an unforced error by President Biden. It was 20 days before we had Secretary Buttigieg go down, 10 days before he put out a statement acknowledging it. This is Trump country. He won by 40 points. He is a president for all Americans. I believe that, but he needs to show that he is. It was time for him to be.
I don't know why they would ever vote for him, for somebody who, by the way, he placed someone with deep ties to the chemical industry in charge of the EPA's Chemical Safety Office. That's who you voted for in that district. Donald Trump, who reduces all safety. He did in those days.
Now, what's interesting about that, so she, of course, like, every socialists are going to blame the free market and deregulation and all that for everything. So, completely to be expected. But what's funny was I actually looked it up in terms of safety regulations. And I'm looking at this is from the Washington Post. The railroad regulation began in the late 19th century. So in the late 1800s, they started regulating the hell out of rails. By the mid 20th century, the construction of the interstate highway system led to increased competition for railroads. In a balanced regulatory environment, railroads would have had freedom to respond to the landscape, but strict government oversight prevented common sense changes to pricing and services. Again, this is an article written in the Washington Post, admittedly from the Association of American Railroads. So take that with a grain of salt, if you will. But railroads started to decline and lose market share in the marketplace because, well, people were using semi trucks and driving them over roads.
Anymore.
Well, they're very expensive, and so America's freight rail network started to crumble. So Washington finally started to act. It wasn't Donald Trump that began the deregulatory process of trains, and I'm not even saying that deregulation is the cause of this disaster.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that pointing the finger at Donald Trump for deregulation is just a cope, because here's President Jimmy Carter in 1979 at his State of the Union address saying, "America has the greatest economic system in the world. Let's reduce government interference and give it a chance to work," because he was demanding that Congress deregulate the freight rail industry. So that was 1979. Dun, dun, dun.
Okay. Doesn't sound like Trump to me.
God, please,
No, it doesn't.
No!
And Mary Kramer has a great question over in the chat. She says, "Who made the decision to burn it?" Yeah, wasn't it the Trump people who decided to blow it up?
Blaming Trump, but then I say, in this new presidential administration, how much power do they have to bring back regulations? Like, once Biden got in office, couldn't he have said, "Oh, I want to change these regulations now that I'm here in office"? Could he have done that?
It's just no. I mean,
Oh,
it
okay.
has to have acts of Congress typically,
Oh,
right?
okay.
So and
So it wouldn't have been that easy to just change what Trump had done.
right, and
Yeah.
the airline industry, they went through a mass deregulation phase as well. I mean, there have been consolidations. I mean, the government regulates the hell out of the transportation industry entirely. I mean, we have an entire department
Right.
that their job is the Department of Transportation, and that's what they do. But I mean, where the hell was Pete Buttigieg for what, weeks, until he finally decided to show up dressed like a member of the Village People the other day?
Apparently, there's an article criticizing him because he was wearing dress boots
Was
for
it
this
really?
site. Yes, he was wearing leather dress boots.
Did he have assless chaps show up?
Probably. Yeah. So people are all like, "Oh gosh, why is he wearing these boots?"
I need to get a picture of Pete Buttigieg where he's showing
Oh,
up
and
for
his
the
hat. His
yes,
hat looked real
Pete
sexy.
Buttigieg hard hat. Yeah, he literally looked like a member of the Village People. Young man, I'm talking to you. Oh wait, here we go. I got the video. Young man, I'm not talking to you. I say, young man, da 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 da. There's no need to be unhappy. It's fun to stay at the
Again, with the massive,
YMCA.
toxic.
It's fun to stay at the YMCA. You can do everything. You can hang with Pete B. You can hang out with all the boys. Boy, that really makes sense when you're talking about that in context here with Pete Buttigieg.
I love the
There he
YMCA.
is, Pete Buttigieg. He showed up, didn't he? I also love the YMCA. That was a good song. It's Friday, so we're gonna have a little bit of fun on here today.
Me up. That was
Yeah,
good.
me too. I'm starting to feel good. Are we going to talk about Don Lemon at some point today?
Yes, we are.
This is the Nikki Haley thing. He's still, I guess he finally went back to CNN or something like that, or like now he's back on the morning show or something
Oh,
like that.
okay.
Yeah, after he got in big
They
trouble.
put him in timeout like a little kid.
Well, it's just funny because the whole Nikki Haley thing, the reason why he's in trouble is because he was being sexist, which is not okay,
Mhm.
but he was commenting on Nikki Haley being ageist.
Mhm.
Because essentially
Exactly.
Nikki Haley started this discriminatory fight by being like, "Oh, well, Biden is past his prime or whatever." So he goes, "Oh, you're past your prime." And all of a sudden it's a problem, which just leads me back to this tack of it's never okay to criticize women. You're
Exactly.
all floating above us, ladies. You're perfect in every way.
Right.
Yeah, but if you lean a little bit closer, see that roses really smell like woo woo woo. Yeah, roses really smell like woo woo woo. Yeah, I know you like to think that you don't stink, but lean a little bit closer, lady. Roses really smell like woo woo woo. Yeah. I don't really know all the lyrics to Outkast, but I do know that one.
Crime can talk about men too. Men are in their prime at certain ages.
Men age like fine wine. Women age like milk.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Unlike Joy Behar, on the other hand, I mean, she's aging
men don't
nicely.
have to undergo childbirth, right? So our bodies are not going to be, our bodies don't break down. They don't get the stretch marks like as Camellia was talking about in the live stream earlier. So I mean, you're probably past your prime once you have your first kid. How's that?
Yeah, I would agree. Both men and women. I mean, when you look at guys after they have a kid too, I mean, they age quite a bit.
They do, but we turn into like a silver fox. I mean, like, a lot of people argue that Obama was sexier when he left the White House than when he went in. But what do you mean?
Oh, I'm just thinking about how he looked afterwards. He just looked tired, and he had a lot more gray in his hair, which usually that's what happens to men when they're stressed, I think.
Yeah, Chris Morrill in the live stream says Nikki Haley is still very much MILF material, and I don't think that's even debatable. Yeah. Sounded very Joe Biden.
Is she fertile?
Is she
Look at
fertile?
her. She looks like she's 19 years
Probably
old,
so.
sitting there
She probably is.
like a little lady in a race car.
No, but it is just funny that like you can get away with saying something like that, where it's like if you're sexist, it's bad. If you're ageist, that's okay. Especially if you're it's a Democrat saying it. just like with this thing with Joy Behar, it's like, can you imagine if a Republican had said like, it's like after 9/11,
Uh-huh.
conservatives didn't say they deserved it because they're New Yorkers, right? Like,
Well, yeah, who are you going to blame for 9/11?
well, here's the thing: if 9/11 happened, you could say, okay, well, what was Bill Clinton doing in the 90s that
Mhm.
he didn't do it? Well, you know what? You voted for Bill Clinton, so you deserve 9/11.
Exactly.
I mean, that's essentially what Joy Behar is saying. Am I wrong?
Yeah, yeah. And in my head, I'm just imagining, let's say the libertarians were in East Palestine
Hmm.
and they cut back all of these regulations. I think people would be pointing fingers at libertarians and saying, you asked for it,
For
you didn't
sure.
want regulation. Like, look at us. A lot of us don't want to pay for, the fire department, for example. So if there
Hmm.
was a fire and our house was in flames, a lot of people would be like, oh, well,
Hmm.
that's your own fault.
Quest Fanning on the live stream says men age like Sean Connery. Unfortunately, so do women.
They look more like men as they really get chin hairs.
Dude, this is
Seriously.
freaking hilarious.
Older women have to pluck their hairs.
Can I ask you a question? Are you glad that we're back, that the Wake Up America show is live again, and that I'm back home? Because I tell you, we've been having way too much fun. Stephanie, it's 7:30, which means it's time to talk about the debate.
Oh my gosh, it went by so fast.
I know, flew by, right? And we
Yeah.
haven't even done any commercial breaks or
I
anything yet.
know.
Although that definitely needs to happen at some point. We got to talk about our friends Litter Capital. And then we've
Yes.
also got a new sponsor starting on
I
Monday.
know. I've actually been using the product of the new sponsor, and I'm really
we
excited.
both have, and we're
Uh-huh.
really excited to talk about it on Monday.
It's a daily thing. This is something you can use every
Exactly.
single day.
Yes, you can use it every single day, and it's good for you. It's healthy.
Yeah.
And Steffi and I, although we failed miserably so far on eating healthy, we are going to get on the right track here this year with our diet. Because like I worked so hard last year to lose all that weight, and then
You
to
did.
want to have it come roaring back, I'm just like, it's not fair. So
20s.
the roaring 2023. So it's time for us to do that. And I'm looking forward to introducing you to our new product and our new sponsor because they're excited to meet you guys. And yeah, I mean,
Very passionate about it. I mean, like, without it even being a sponsor, I'm really excited to use it
well,
every
you
day.
get to talk about it next Friday when you come back. She's been making them for me, all the good, healthy stuff. So, and it tastes great. So we're going to talk about that. Yeah, when we get back, on Monday, we'll talk about our new sponsor. Okay, so where are we? What are we talking about? The debate. Oh yeah, so Turning Point in Towson, Maryland. Turning Point USA of Towson. Apparently, they're embroiled in controversy, and I didn't know any of this stuff.
Some shootings that took place before you got there.
Well, Baltimore is a nightmare. So we went through the city of Baltimore on the way from the airport to to Towson, and I gotta say, like, I feel bad for anybody who lives in Baltimore. That is, I would normally the only time I would see Baltimore was when I was on the train or driving from DC to New York or back because I
Yeah.
lived between the two cities for a while. And when I was in downtown Baltimore, it was depressing. It looked in many places like post-war Berlin,
Oh my gosh.
like it had been bombed out. It was frightening being down there. Like anytime we would stop at a stoplight or something like that, I would get nervous
Oh my
for safety
gosh.
because crackheads everywhere. I mean,
Really?
just the most dangerous
Yeah.
hellhole you've ever seen. It looks like a third world country
Oh
in Baltimore,
boy.
right? And that's what you get when you have that one party rule over
Yeah.
a geographic area, and they keep voting for the same people that keep pushing the same policies. And
Song in Hairspray called Good Morning Baltimore. Yeah.
yes, there is.
I wonder if Baltimore was a thriving city during
It was.
Hairspray. Yeah.
Yeah, in the 1940s and 50s,
Uh-huh.
there were a lot of those like sort of industrial towns back in the early 20th century that did very well. But they got hollowed out in the 1960s, 70s, and 80s. Things just were allowed to go to hell. Democrats took over, and
It's the Democrats.
well,
Blame them.
they would blame it on white flight, right? So it's like, but I
Yeah.
mean, you can't win with that because it's like if white people move out of an area, then it's white flight. If
Yeah.
white people move into an area, then it's gentrification. So you can't really
Right.
win. But Baltimore itself, somebody's got to solve that problem. I mean,
Yeah.
it looks bombed out. It looks,
Oh boy.
it's unbelievable to me that there are cities in the United States like that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's honestly,
I mean,
it's a
not
shame.
not gonna lie, with the recent Michigan State University shooting and the fact that you were in kind of a bad neighborhood. I was a little bit nervous about something going down while you were giving your speech,
Yeah, for
especially
sure.
given what you all were talking about.
For sure. Dustin over in the live stream says, Austin, you so misunderstood the lady a few times. I'm not saying that that's not the case. Maybe I did. If so, I'd love to hear from you, Dustin, on what it was that you thought I misunderstood her from.
Yeah, I'm
I
definitely
mean,
interested to hear
she pretty
certain
clear,
points they
like
have.
she pretty clearly branded herself as a socialist. She's, she did say, well, if this is what the definition of socialism is, then I guess it makes me a socialist. But I mean, that was what she was saying, which was the definition of socialism, right? So it's like the problem with the Groypers is that it's really it's socialism for white people, essentially, right? So Democrats is socialism for minorities, affirmative action for minorities, and national socialism is extreme nationalism, right? God and country, and mixed with authoritarianism and socialism, right? So their idea is that the government should step in to promote what they believe to be healthy activities, non-Jewish activities, right?
Right,
Things like that,
Christian
Christian activities.
activity.
But it was just so funny because in the debate, we talked about separation of church and state. We talked about
Yes.
vaccine mandates. We talked about federalism, and the concept of secession came up and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And on some of the things, I thought that she made reasonable points when she was talking about that she didn't think secession or civil war would lead to anything good here in the United States. Typically, whenever you're arguing with a national socialist, I would think most national socialists probably would disagree with her that in theory that we probably need a civil war and secede and fight the federal government and all of that kind of stuff, because typically there's a lot of pro-Confederacy sentiment amongst national socialists.
Okay, I really haven't talked to any National Socialists. So
No
it's the
kidding.
first time I had really truly listened to somebody like that.
I mean, she came out in her opening statement, saying I'm an authoritarian and we need more authoritarian policies, and we need to have a strong government that forces everyone to believe what I believe and to make everyone to bring about order.
Right.
And the problem with the United States, and I shit you not, she says, is too many libertarians in power. Libertarians have taken over, and that's what she said. She said that that we've had too many libertarian policies for too long in the United States. If there's one thing that is the problem in the United States, is that we've had for too long is too much freedom. Yes, that has been the problem. Did you notice?
I just wonder how she got this way. I really would be interested in her history. Has she always been this type of political affiliation?
No, apparently she was just kind of like your garden variety Trumper, and then she went back to Iowa and was working on the Trump campaign out there and got really disillusioned by what she saw were a bunch of grifters. And then she fell in with the Nick Fuentes crowd,
Yeah.
which is, they call themselves Groypers and stuff. And they used to have a lot more influence and stuff like that. They don't really have as much online, because if you would mention them at all, they would have their trolls fan out and flame you. So I mean,
Oh, and like she said, most of her social media has been banned except for Instagram, I believe.
yeah, but she is on Instagram now, but
Mhm.
maybe she just started a new account recently or
Yeah.
something. But I mean, she is someone who believes, in the tenets of National Socialism, right? Extreme nationalism and a government that not only redistributes wealth, but also strongly central plans.
Mhm.
But what was fascinating to me, and I think this bears repeating, was it really bothered her when I brought up the fact that George Washington wrote letters to the Jewish congregations in the United States, right? Because her version of Christianity is at odds with Judaism. Right. There's always been a tradition of anti-Semitism to an extent within all branches of Christianity, but it's especially virulent in the Catholic Church, where you'll find a lot of people, especially in the Russian Orthodox. They're very anti-Semitic, in large part due to the fact that they argue that Jews killed Christ. Never mind that in the Bible it's Pontius Pilate and the Romans that are actually putting them on the state, the government.
And
But
she's pro-Russia, so that would make sense.
yeah, most idiots are,
Uh-huh.
right? So it's it's kind of cool. Did you see that Ron Paul's chief foreign policy guy is a big Russia supporter too. Did you see this?
Really?
Yeah, it's got this like big tubby guy. His name's Dan something or other, but he runs like the Ron Paul Institute.
Yeah.
But he like had this tweet that he posted the other day. He's like, "Hell yeah, I'm pro Russia and all this kind of stuff." And I'm like,
Wow.
I thought we were libertarians. Why would we support a dictatorial regime of a guy who murders reporters?
I know.
But I mean, like in that circle of people, like
Uh-huh.
that have always orbited around Ron is like are always like not only like revisionist historians, but like they think that the United States government is the most evil government in the world, right? Like worse than China. Yeah, exactly. It's laughable. Well, they sound like they hate America. I mean,
I say then go move somewhere that you like.
they don't want to do that because they think, you know, they have a right to be here, and they certainly do, and they can have those opinions. I don't share it, right? Like I don't think that we should be intervening and starting World War III over Ukraine,
No,
but
I don't think Ron Paul would want that either.
I don't think
He's
so.
a non-interventionist.
Uh,
I mean, I had written an article about him in the Jewish News locally in Michigan many years ago.
yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and talking about intervention in Israel, and he did not believe in that.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the Jewish people were upset at him for it. But I said, no, he's a non-interventionist. He's not an isolationist.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Netanyahu didn't want us to help him.
Right, right. So this is a long conversation that we can get into at some other time. But the idea is you don't have to be pro-Russia to think that we shouldn't be getting involved in Ukraine or sending American soldiers to fight and die in an Eastern European squabble over land. It's not something that's because there's nothing in it for the United States, right? And usually you get involved in a war, it's because either you're attacked
Mhm.
or it's because there's some kind of like economic interest or land dispute that arises that can't be solved by diplomacy, and so therefore you go to war over it.
A declaration of war.
A declaration of war, but there's literally nothing in it for the United States to get in this, right? We're just being bilked. Anyways, so you can send us a text this morning at 573-319-1586. That's 573-319-1586. JDTV, Jews put the blame on the Romans. Christ is a fake Jewish psyop to get the Gentiles to worship Yahweh. No idea what the hell that person's talking about.
What?
That's what you get exactly as on the internet. What exactly?
I don't know.
Libertarians took total power over the government. Yes, that's hilarious. The libertarians took total power of the government. That's kind of what
That's what we wish we could do.
right.
I'm not so sure we'll ever have a chance at that.
Taking over government to leave everyone alone. Wouldn't that be nice?
Let's start by getting elected first, okay?
Exactly. It would be nice to get elected first. But we talked about separation of church and state, and I thought it was interesting. You know, she was very triggered by me talking about how George Washington had a friend relationship with the Jewish congregations in the United States, or I guess in the colonies.
Yeah.
And in order to get the Jewish congregations on their side, George Washington crafted the First Amendment in such a way so that there would be a separation of church and state. So, like, for people who are constitutional originalists, if you look at the intent of the founding fathers when they wrote certain amendments,
Mhm.
we can quibble about the question of original intent, but if you read George Washington's letter to the Jewish congregations, which I should probably just like pull up and I can read, that he explicitly wanted the First Amendment to ensure that the United States would not sponsor any one religion
Mhm.
in order to bring the colonies together so that they could unite and have a stronger country.
Well, that sounds nice.
Yeah, well, for sure.
Yeah.
And of course, there's the letter that Thomas Jefferson wrote to the Danbury Baptists that said that the concept of the separation of church and state, um, was that he would build up a wall of separation between church and state. So it was back in the day before the Baptists kind of became the sort of like more nationalist sect of fundamentalist Christians that they are today.
Yeah.
At the time, it was the Baptists had to be convinced by Thomas Jefferson that the new government would not oppress them.
Right.
Right? Because I mean, the thing is that America was founded by people who were fleeing religious oppression, right?
Exactly.
The Puritans came to the pre-United States, colonial America.
Uh-huh.
They came because they were fleeing the Catholic Church
Right.
in oppression that was coming from the Church of England
Mhm.
that they didn't agree with, right? And so the Puritans who founded the colonies initially were doing it because they wanted freedom of religion, right? But I mean, people like Shekinah doesn't believe in freedom of religion.
Right.
And it's funny because her religion was only demarginalized in the early 1960s. She seems shocked by that. I should have just like asked her, who was our first Catholic president, Shekinah? She probably would have had no clue, right? But it was
Yeah.
John F. Kennedy.
Right. I remember you telling her that.
Right. And
But then she was like, well, JFK was a Democrat. It doesn't matter.
she's so, I'll be careful. The thing about the John F. Kennedy thing is that it was seen as there was a conspiracy by the Catholic Church and the Pope to get a Catholic elected in the United States. So like the conspiracy theorist Christians in the United States were spinning, all of these lies and about the Catholic Church was going to take over the United States and they were going to use John F. Kennedy, who's a Catholic, to do it. I mean, because until the 1960s, I mean, there was a very strong anti-Catholic bias.
Right.
And it went through these institutions that I was talking about during the debate, the KKK. The KKK was not only were they anti-Jew, obviously,
Yeah.
but they were also very anti-Catholic.
And anti-black.
Oh, well, yes, I think that goes without saying, yes.
Well, just talking about Shekinah, I mean.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. That was my whole point. I was like, the type of people that you are that you're defending here are gonna put you on the last train to Clarksville, if you will.
Wondering, so she's pushing for Christianity in the United States. That's what she wants, right?
Her version of Catholic Christianity.
Okay, so she wants Catholics to rule the United States, not just Christians.
Right. That the idea of separation of church and state is a myth, and that it's a myth, and that there should be government officially sponsored religion, specifically her religion, right?
Right.
But it's just funny because then I was just like, okay, well, what is the religion of the most powerful person in the United States right now?
Catholic.
Roman Catholic, exactly the same religion that she was. And I'm like, so wait a minute. And of course she bristled at that because she of course doesn't think that he's a real Catholic, which I think is funny. He's literally the same like religious sect as she is, but she can't even agree on the political positions of the Catholic religion that she's a member of between somebody who's in her same church.
This sounds like libertarians having a debate with each other, but you're not a real libertarian.
But do you get? But here's yeah, exactly. But do you get where I'm going with this? My point here is that wait a minute, you don't want to have separation of church and state, and yet you can't even agree that the people who are within your own religion are representing your religion faction accurately, and you're gonna have that be the official religion, and you think it's gonna provide any kind of like moral guidance? I'm like, no, because the reality is you're going to get Joe. It's not going to be the conservative culture warriors who are going to be the ones who are going to control the government. It's going to be Joe Biden's, right? It's
ones that are not good Catholics.
Exactly. Religion and state exist in more purity the more they are separate. I'm looking at this right now. From George Washington to the Hebrew congregation in Newport, Rhode Island, 18th of August, 1790. So this would have been around the time of the ratification of the First Amendment here. He writes that great affection and esteem, I rejoice in the opportunity of assuring you I shall always retain a grateful remembrance of the cordial welcome I experienced in my visit to Newport from all classes of citizens. And he's talking about the reflection on the days of difficulty and danger which are past is rendered the more sweet from a consciousness that they are succeeded by days of uncommon prosperity and security. So he's talking here about how, the Revolutionary War was difficult, but now we're experiencing a time of prosperity and security. He says, if we have wisdom to make the best use of the advantages which we are now favored, we cannot fail under the just administration of a good government to become a great and happy people. He says that the people of the United States have a right to applaud themselves for having given to mankind examples of enlarged and liberal policy. This is George Washington. A liberal policy, a policy that is worth imitation. He says, all possess alike liberty of conscience and immunities of citizenship. It is now no more that toleration is spoken of, as it was by the indulgence of one class of people, that another enjoy the exercise of their inherent natural rights. He says, for happily the government of the United States, this is George Washington talking to the Jewish congregation in Newport, for happily the government of the U.S., which gives to bigotry no sanction, Shekinah, to persecution no assistance, requires only that they who live under its protection should demean themselves as good citizens, in giving it all on occasions their effectual support. He says, it would be inconsistent with the frankness of my character not to vow, I am pleased with your favorable opinion of my administration and fervent wishes for my felicity. May the children of the stock of Abraham who dwell in this land continue to merit and enjoy the goodwill of other inhabitants, while everyone shall sit in safety under his own vine and fig tree, and there shall be none to make him afraid. May the Father of all mercies scatter light and not darkness in our paths, and make us all in our several vocations useful here, and in his due time and way, everlastingly happy. Oh man, George Washington.
Wow. He's really good with his words. And honestly, the way they spoke back then, I don't even know. It's so complicated sounding. He should have just said, I support you guys. You do you.
Well, I just love this because it's like, somebody like Shekinah, I mean, essentially spits in the face of George Washington, right, with their treatment of the Jews,
Right.
right? And for those who are tuning in, like you want to know what we're talking about. We're talking about a debate that I participated in Towson, Maryland. We were discussing in that debate separation of church and state, which Shekinah does not believe in, right? And of course, and I do. And I was talking about this this letter that George Washington wrote to the Jewish congregations, right, to get their support for the government of the United States. And it's amazing. It's like so many people today think that they're so much smarter than the founding fathers.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. We're going to redo the entire Constitution because they say, I mean, who were the founding fathers? Why should we listen to them? They were just normal guys like anybody else. So why are they supreme?
To truly understand the intent of the U.S. Constitution, someone writes, you need to use dictionaries of that time period. Probably true. That would definitely help. You can text us as well today, 573-319-1586. We'd love to hear from you all. I think Christopher Hatch was asking earlier with a super chat, by the way. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
He's asking, is that why a lot of libertarian content was on Russia Today? Honestly, yes.
You were on Russia Today.
I was, yes. But I never supported Putin or the only times I ever went on Russia Today was to argue for free market capitalism, libertarianism, limited government, and against socialism, communism. I was always there to debate. But there were a lot of libertarians who would go on Russia Today to talk smack about the United States and to talk about how America sucks, blah, 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 blah. And Russia Today would put them on because that fits in with Russian foreign policy. Right. So Russia Today being a propaganda arm of the Russian government, right? That's from Moscow. They would never have allowed me, they would have never invited me even to have me on as like my own show or something like that, but there were other libertarians who had like shows on Russia Today. But of course the understanding was you couldn't talk about Putin, right?
Right.
You couldn't say anything unkind about the
it doesn't sound very libertarian to me. Why do libertarians like that? There's a lot of rules there.
Well, first of all, a lot of libertarians are willing to be useful idiots for foreign. Like a lot of libertarians are useful idiots in that they don't know that they're tools of foreign intelligence agencies and things. Because like a lot of like what I was saying earlier about like the people in Paul's circle is that they're so focused on the evils of the American government, of which there are a great many, that they completely discount the possibility of evil from foreign governments. And
so much research on America, but not enough on the country that they're talking good about.
Right. And they only, a lot of people too, like only have a vision of like what has occurred in their own lifetime.
Right.
So they're not looking at things in context, like the Cold War and things like that, and like the certain geopolitical realities that we're faced with in the world. And it's kind of like, because they are only paying attention to things that have occurred in their lifetime, they're like, well, Putin never did me wrong. My enemies are here in the United States. And it's like, I promise you that if you had your libertarian views in Russia, that you would have been disappeared a long time ago.
I think so.
Right. Now, if
I mean, my ancestors are from Russia, and they fled and went to Ellis Island.
Exactly. And my ancestors fled Europe because Europe was, honestly, my ancestors came to the United States from Europe at the perfect time. And they came with a wave of immigration, which I know triggers conservatives, but it's okay because they were white.
And it was legal.
And well, it was legal it used to be legal to immigrate here to the United States. Now it's like it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle. But in regards to my immigrants, they came in like the year 1900. It was like 1901.
Yeah, mine were early 1900s.
But think about it. Think about the wars: World War I, World War II, right? Then the Cold War in Berlin and what happened to everything. that was our ancestors were brilliant. They got out of Europe at the perfect time because they came after the American Civil War. But this is on my dad's side because my mom's side actually came here with Lafayette to fight. They were French. My mother's side, yeah, they fought. They
Yes.
fought with Lafayette and decided. But on my dad's side, the Danish, they came from Copenhagen, or they came on a boat from Copenhagen. The Heiligolov was the name of the boat, and then when they came to the United States, they came in 1901, and then Europe devolved into total war, right? And so they came like at the peak of the height of the progressive era and the times when it was after the Civil War, so that was over, so they didn't have to suffer through that. And then, of course, World War I and World War II hit, and you didn't want to be in Europe during World War I and World War II.
I don't
Terrible,
think so.
terrible time to be
Anywhere near Germany. I don't think so.
Yeah, and you're
I'm
Russian.
not sure my people would have survived around those parts.
Yeah, it was. Dustin is over on the live stream. He says that the solution, he says it was necessary. You was running the Ukraine issue. I'm not quite understanding what you're saying there, Dustin. If you could clarify.
Oh, is he talking about the debate still?
I think so. Yeah, and we're still supposed to be on that topic, but we can sort of circumscribe and come back to it. We'll circle back to that in just a moment. We were talking about like why so many libertarians are like pro-Russia or something like that. So, I mean, some of them are useful idiots. And you got to remember Russia today, especially, like they pay those anchors and stuff. So I mean, they're getting paid by a state government. I mean, it's kind of like, it's we're working for Air America overseas, right? You're working for an American propaganda organization, but it's like a lot of like young journalists and people, like it's tempting to take jobs like that because it's a television job, right? You want to work in the industry.
You want that exposure, that
Right.
experience.
But you become tainted by it, right? Once you've worked in Russia today, Russian state television, it's going to be hard to get a job in the mainstream media.
Yeah, I mean, how does that look on your resume, right?
Not so good, right? Because at the end of the day, I am a nationalist and I do believe in America first, and I and I don't think that America is the greatest evil in the world, right? Libertarians look at the history of evil that the United States has committed, again, of which there are quite a lot. There's a long list, but then they ignore that, Barack Obama never like had a reporter assassinated, have a shot in the face. Joe Biden, as bad as he is, has never had someone poisoned with polonium-19 and died a week after for reporting on his regime, right? So I mean, it's
like smells people's hair and
sniffs people's
makes weird comments
and makes exactly, makes weird comments. Very funny stuff.
Look at her. She looks like she's 19 years old, sitting there with like a little lady with her legs crossed.
The Andy Opperman says the debate hardly seemed fair. That poor lady really didn't belong on the stage with AP. Well, I mean, I guess who would be the best representatives that there are for Groypers and stuff? Not a lot of them. But.
Yeah. Honestly thought they'd have other people even representing other forms of conservatism.
I thought so too. I thought maybe it was going to be kind of like a multi-panel kind of debate thing where there were going to be other representatives of the philosophy. But I mean, the future of the American right. I mean, a lot of young people are either kind of like libertarian or more what you would call populist, Zoomers and things like that. Populist, if I'm being, polite or great, as kind as possible.
What's a populist?
A populist is someone who is an anti-elite.
Oh,
Right? Anti-elite, right? So, somebody who believes that the little man and, the common clay of the earth should inherit the earth and that the elites are the ones who are taking advantage
libertarian, populist.
We have some populist aspects to us, right? The current elites, but we're also, in other ways, we're elitist, right? Because we're not Democrats. When I say Democrats, I mean small d Democrats. If you are a Democrat, right, then you're going to be much more populist because I mean, typically, I'm not talking about big D Democrat here. I'm talking about small d Democrat. Don't get it confused. I'm not talking about a political party. I mean, someone who believes in democracy.
Right.
And so the concept of democracy is the little guy, right? They get everybody one man, one vote. And, that's a very populist sort of thing, right? We're going to go against the elites.
It's all about the majority, right?
But if you believe in the Electoral College.
Yeah.
Right. If you believe in the Electoral College, then that means you're a bit of an elite because in that sense, you don't think that everybody really needs to be able to vote for the president of the United States.
That's why we're a republic, not a democracy.
Not a democracy. Exactly.
Yes,
so the Electoral College is an elitist institution.
Yeah.
And I support that. Right. capitalism is an elitist institution because it's going to, the quick and the dead, right? Supply and demand. It's
Natural
capitalism.
selection.
Yes, capitalism can be very brutal, and I acknowledge that as someone who thinks it's the best system there is, but acknowledges that there are problems with it, but it's the best system there is. It's better than all the others. And so the question is, are we elitist or are we populist? We're a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Right. It's certain things, right? If since we're business owners, I mean, since we are kind of the 1%, not really the 1% here in the United States, but we are the 1% in the world. I mean, Steffi, we tend to do a little bit better than people perhaps in our peer group, right? We're definitely above the median in our town.
Right.
In terms, the average salary I think in this area is like $38,000 or something like that, or a little bit lower, and so that question of who is an elite, right, is an elite defined by being cultured, right? Is an elite defined by someone who, or is it just that they just look down on people or something like that? I think how you define the elite is really going to be the question of whether or not you yourself are a populist. But I think if you're on the right, to some extent you're going to have some elitist tendencies. If you believe in a meritocracy, right, that people should be hired not based on the color of their skin or their ethnicity,
Merit. Yeah.
by merit, right? I think that's a bit of an elitist mindset. I mean, it has some aspects of populism because it could say, well, everybody gets a chance, an equal opportunity.
Right, but then you say, is there really such thing as an equal opportunity in our society?
No, because nobody's going to give me a chance to go and play in the NBA. Okay, right? The reality is,
Right.
yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's just we're not all equal in that sense, right?
Yeah.
So equality of opportunity, right, is good, but equality of outcome, is socialism, something to be avoided. Quest Fanning on the live stream says, I'm an elitist. People are dumb. Hilarious. All right, we're going to take a brief little commercial break so I can get my bearings and come back with the next topic. And we'll be back with more on the Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
I like shooting things, but whenever I can't shoot something, I like to cut things. My life isn't all about shooting and stabbing and cutting, though. Sometimes I have to do actual work, but when I work, I still like to have fun. And there's nothing less fun than trying to cut with a crappy knife. Thankfully, from the ancient sect of Christian knights, who also loved cutting and stabbing, comes a new implement that has received my personal blessing, the Templar knife. Like the ancient sword of Excalibur, you don't choose a Templar knife, it chooses you. You just decide what kind you want on the website first, however, and then order it online, and then it chooses you. The Templar knife comes in a variety of shapes. As a man of culture and taste, I have decided I will never use a terrible knife again. And thanks to the inspiration provided by this excellent product, I have decided to launch a new crusade against anyone using less than superior knives. Join me, brothers and sisters, by visiting uppercuttactical.com/pages/Templar-knives. That's a lot of slashes. For that, you'll need a Templar knife. For 10% off, use code AP for Liberty and join me in a quest for glory, for liberty, for Christendom, for the Templar knife. Get yours today. Fire.
Hello, this is Barack Obama, and let me tell you why Austin Peterson stinks, and you should never pay attention to anything that he has to say. First of all, he's a libertarian, and we all know libertarians are idiots. They don't realize how important government is to everything that we do. I recently became aware that Austin has opened up a libertarian shop at apeforlibertyshop.com. Now, I'm asking you as a personal favor to me that you never ever visit apforlibertyshop.com. With all of the great Liberty merchandise there, the last thing that we need to do is to get people spreading this message around the country, because then they might start thinking that they don't need government. And that's the last thing that good Democrats like us want. So if you love democracy, like me, and hate freedom, then don't visit AP for Liberty Shop. Like I said, whatever you do, do not visit apforlibertyshop.com. I'm Barack Obama, and I approve this message.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I would remind you that extremism in the defense of liberty is no vice.
It is better to settle these matters in the courts than on the streets, and new laws are needed at every level. But law alone cannot make men see right.
Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. We're joined in studio by the lovely Stephanie Peterson for Family Friday. Hey, Steffi.
Hello. We're also joined by our new book, Calvin the Coolest President.
Did you want to talk about that for just a brief moment?
Absolutely.
Go ahead, yeah.
So if you haven't heard, we wrote a children's book together using artificial intelligence. It's called Calvin the Coolest President. It's about Calvin Coolidge's life. It's perfect for ages, I'd say 2 through 6 to 8. And it's on Amazon. So if you type in Calvin the Coolest President, you can get it in paperback or on the Kindle.
Yeah, it makes a great gift for some from little ones in your life, or maybe for an adult who just likes to have cute little things.
Yeah. A lot of children's books from all the freedom people.
Now, the cool thing, too, about the book is that we are going to have signed copies available. So for those of you who do want to have one for like a collector's item piece and you want Steffi and I to sign it in our little gold ink, we will gladly do that. We're going to put that up.
John Hancock.
Yes, we will put that up on the website later this afternoon. So if you are interested in something like that, a signed copy of the book, then we'll get one of those for you. It'll cost a little bit more than the Amazon one, but that's because we have to today we're going to go to Staples and buy some packaging and all that stuff. So there's a little bit extra fee than you would pay. So if you just want the regular book, you can get it on Amazon.com. If you're
touched by us, it doesn't have our sweat.
Exactly.
Maybe I should spray it with some perfume.
Stephanie and I are not sweating on your book, just FYI. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Slaving away, putting our signatures on so many books.
Yeah, I was reading this, speaking of, I was reading this on the plane yesterday. I'm still working on this book, Conspiracy Book by Michael Shermer. And, it talks about the type of mistakes that you can make, errors in judgment when you are a conspiracy theorist versus someone who is less prone to conspiracy theories. And because people who are less prone to conspiracy theories can make mistakes that are, if there's a real conspiracy and they tend to not believe them, then they can make a mistake in, oh crap, there's really a conspiracy here. And of course, people who are prone to conspiracy theories are making a mistake in that not everything is a conspiracy, right? So it's like
believing too much.
These are type 1 errors and type 2 errors. But what I thought was really interesting about this one, and I think that this is probably maybe a difference between yourself and myself. Maybe I'm wrong, but you can chime in, and I wonder what the audience will think too. But Shermer talks about this concept of a locus of control.
Mm-hmm.
And a locus of control is how we sort of perceive how much control we have over our lives.
Yeah.
And people who have a high internal locus of control
Mm-hmm.
believe that they are the ones who are in charge of their destinies. They are the ones who are making things happen in the world. And like for example, I feel like I have a high internal locus of control.
Right.
So I feel like I am in charge of my destiny. I am my own master. I am the one who is making things happen. I am the one impacting the world. Whereas people who have a high external locus of control think that other things outside my control are affecting me. Powerful elites are making these decisions, right?
Yeah.
And crashing these trains and making 9/11 happen and things like that. Most of the things that are happening in the world are happening the things that are happening to me are outside of my control.
Yeah.
And so what they determined was with these studies is that people who have a high external locus of control are more prone to being conspiracy theorists because, of course, it's always George Soros who's doing this, or Greta Thunberg and the World Economic Forum and all this stuff. So you're more prone to think, oh, well, they're poisoning the water and that's why I'm getting sick. They're doing this and that's what's happening to me.
Rather than looking internally at yourself and what you're doing.
Rather than sort of having an internal locus of control. And in your internal locus of control, the perception is that you're more confident in your personal judgment, more skeptical of outside authorities and sources of information, and you're less likely to believe in conspiracy theories. People who having a high external locus of control tend to believe conspiracy theories because they place too much emphasis on what is happening to them or what others are doing to them. His favorite observation of this effect comes from Alan Moore, who is the author of the graphic novels Watchmen and V for Vendetta. After conducting his own investigation into the world of conspiracies, he says, the main thing that I learned about conspiracy theories is that conspiracy theorists believe in a conspiracy because that is more comforting. The truth of the world is that it's actually chaotic. The truth is that it's not the Jewish banking conspiracy or the gray aliens or the 12-foot reptiloids from another dimension that's in control. The truth is far more frightening. Nobody is in control. The world is rudderless. That sounds like something that would terrify the hell.
So you're more about nothing's in control?
Correct.
Is that your mindset?
Yes, right.
Oh, okay.
Right. That there is no external, there is, there are some conspiracies, right? And in it, he kind of lists the ones that were real, like MK Ultra and a few others, Operation Northwoods and things that were, actual conspiracies. And this book is just fantastic. I'm having so much fun reading it. But there's fake conspiracies and there's real conspiracies. And so the one that he's right now explaining sort of like the evolutionary reasons behind why people are willing to believe in conspiracies, and it's because over time, here's the thing. People are more prone to being conspiracy theories than being more rational because it was an evolutionary advantage to always be on the watch.
Absolutely. In order for survival.
Yes, it was always.
You have to be in that fight or flight mode.
Right. And so if you're, because here's the thing, a type 1 error is the type of thing that says, okay, well, that rustling in the grass might be a leopard. So I'm going to go ahead and think it's a leopard because on the other side of things, if you that's a type 1 error. If it's not a leopard,
that would be me.
That would be
like
you.
me, I always assume the worst.
Right. Whereas me, I hear the rustling in the grass and I think it's probably the wind. But if my error, if I make my error is fatal.
Yeah.
Yours is not as fatal because you're going to be more on the lookout.
That's why you need to hang out with people who have anxiety. We'll keep you protected.
So I hope this concept is making sense.
We have a panic attack and then we do not think very logically. So that is a problem.
No, exactly. So in regards to, and here's the thing. So we are the descendants of people who believed that every rustle in the grass was potentially a leopard, right? There are very few people who survived who were making type 2 errors because they thought, it's just the wind in the grass. They're a skeptic, right? So they made the type 2 error. Oh, it was actually a leopard.
Uh-huh.
Right. And it's, probably the most fascinating story that I've read in this book so far, which God is so good.
Yeah.
Some of the words are a little bit too big even for me, but
This is a lot for
yeah,
sure.
but he tells this story about some tribesmen. A missionary was telling the story about tribesmen and how, people who were so it was these two African tribes, and one tribe concocted a conspiracy to go and steal their women.
Uh-huh.
And so, in order for them to be able to steal their women, they had to lure them into an ambush.
Yeah.
And so, how they lured them into the ambush was that they said to the other tribe, "Hey, come, Dinah. We have machetes and we
Mhm.
have cooking pots that we were able to pray for, and we learned how to pray to make these things materialize and appear. And if you come hang out with us,
Mm.
we'll teach you how to pray so that you can pray to get, and you will get these like machetes and you'll get these cooking pots from the white man that we got." And so here's the thing. So the second tribe came
Uh-huh.
and they said, "Okay, put your head down and pray." And of course, what did they do?
They killed
They
him.
killed them. They chopped
Oh
their heads
yeah,
off,
I
right?
would not go into that den.
Ri-
No, no, no.
But that's the thing, is that like
Mm-mm.
people who, the ambush, the raid, right, is a conspiracy, right? It's the oldest dirty trick in the book, right? And it's always something that you had to worry about when you were living on the plains of Africa and the savannah. There's a psychological reason behind why we believe in conspiracy theories, because it helps serve us all of our evolutionary chain.
Generational trauma.
Correct. It's the generational trauma of of having the snake in the grass, the leopard lying in wait, right? Or the tribe that would stage an ambush. I mean, that's the classic definition of a conspiracy.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in that sense, it was better for people to be more aware and wary, and those type 1 errors that would be made wouldn't punish you as hard as a type 2 error,
Sure.
like the one that I made, would be more likely to make not believe the conspiracy that was actually a real conspiracy and was going to get you. But unfortunately, because we no longer live on the African savannah, and because we no longer have to dwell in a fear of an ambush of Maori tribesmen chopping our heads off, we're now at a disadvantage by overly hyping every potential possible threat. But you can understand why people do it, because it's like it's you lose nothing if you're always constantly on alert, on fear.
Except your life.
Except your
You
life,
live a shorter.
yes, your anxiety, and you're constantly jumping at shadows. But then on the other side of things, if you make a type 2 error, then it could cost you your life.
Yeah. When talking about my character and which side I think I'm on, my motto is amor fati, the love of fate,
Mhm.
both good and bad.
Mhm.
So I always say, no matter what happens to me, that's just the path that I'm on.
Mhm.
So yeah, I guess I more so do look at the world as I can't control everything. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control your reactions to what happens to you.
Mhm.
I firmly believe that.
Yes. And I know that people are probably this conversation kind of goes over people's heads, but I'm fascinated by it because it's a psychology thing, right?
Oh, and I
And-
love psychology.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I'll bring it back to the debate here, and then we'll move on.
Yeah.
Is it National Socialists? They are extreme conspiracy theorists,
Mhm.
right? If you ever meet a Nazi and you ever get to talk to them, don't tell them you're Jewish. But every Nazi that I've ever met, and I've unfortunately met quite a few,
Mhm.
is a conspiracy theorist. And it goes back to World War II, Adolf Hitler's conspiracy theory of the Jews stabbed Germany in the back,
Mm.
right?
They deny the Holocaust completely.
Yes, yeah. So I mean, that's another conspiracy theory, right? But I mean, the Jewish banking conspiracy, like every National Socialist is a conspiracy theorist. Not every conspiracy theorist is a National Socialist,
Oh no.
but every National Socialist is a conspiracy theorist, right? And it's, again, it's because they believe that factors are outside of their control. It's like, it's the Jews are the reason why no woman wants to book me, right? It's the Jews are the reason why I'm a loser, right?
Right.
It must be somebody else's fault that's the reason that I'm not a success. Right. So
Like, woe is me, I'm the
right.
victim.
Exactly. Like communists,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
So communists are another example. Socialists, communists, Nazis, but I repeat myself. They have a high external locus of control.
Yeah.
They think that the factors in the world that are making them miserable are outside of their control.
Yeah.
Right. It's very unlikely that you would meet someone who was a rational, sane person who would also be Nazi, right? And although, there have been some cases in the past, but the fact is that being a National Socialist, you're going to be seeing as the Jewish conspiracy, right?
Mhm.
Are the ones working against us. I don't have control over my life because it's the Jews who have control over my life.
Right.
That's why I'm a loser and I can't get a job and I've never been able to make anything. Because rather than admitting that the reason why you're a loser and you can't get a job or you haven't been able to do anything with your life of any value, is because you didn't take advantage of the opportunities that were placed in front of you. You
Yeah.
didn't have a high internal locus of control. Your internal locus of control would have guided you to a better life because you would have taken advantage of the circumstances you played with. Life is not necessarily about what you do, but about what you do with what's done to you in some way, in some ways, right? So you have to take agency over yourself and make those kinds of decisions.
Yeah. You need a good balance though, because your heart is going to get broken so much if you blame yourself for every little thing.
Mm-hmm.
Not everything is really within your control.
Not everything, but it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, you still have to make do with what is handed to you, right? Another concept in this book he talks about is entropy, which is basically, shit happens, essentially, is the
Does.
concept. Is that
Like I'm thinking, sicknesses, right? If
right?
somebody gets sick, sure, maybe it's because of your lifestyle, your eating habits.
Mm-hmm.
So you could technically blame yourself for some things, but not all medical issues.
No, but here's the thing. So like entropy as defined in like physics and like the model of physics is that anything that moves tends to go to a position of non-movement, or anything that is warm tends to go cold. And the only way that something can continue to remain warm, which warmth is movement, is when you look at it like on a atomic level, if something is warm, the warmer it is, the faster it moves.
Yeah.
Right.
Boiling water.
Right. The colder
Yeah.
something is, the less it moves.
Nice.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so in regards to entropy, any kind of system of life is a warm system, but it can't exist forever unless it has some outside energy that's coming in and replenishing the system. Car won't go without gasoline, right? Human beings won't go without food, right?
Yeah.
And so in regards to agency of our life, we all have to deal with physics and entropy constantly trying to, nature's trying to kill us all the time. But we can't blame nature for being nature.
Corgi-sized meteor.
Oh God, Steffi, you're gonna tell
me.
Okay, I think a lot of people are gonna have
Troll.
yes. So no. Good job. We can talk about the meteor in a little bit. So anyways, this is all like a roundabout way to say that like the paranoid delusional conspiracies that lead one to follow someone like Nick Fuentes are because psychologically these people have a very high external locus of control. They see the reason why they're failures or the reason why problems are happening in the world as some outside force rather than my agency,
Right.
my internal dialogue, me saying, I am going to be the arbiter of the decisions that are made in my life. And I am responsible for both my successes and my defeats. Right. If I'd gotten curb stomped in that debate, I'm not the type of person to say, well, it's because the moderators were bad or it was somebody else and all of that. A lot of people who do this kind of thing, right?
Make excuses.
They make excuses, right? Those are people who have a high external locus of control. It is outside factors that are caused me to lose. No, if I had lost that debate, I would have said, I didn't prepare enough. I hadn't done my homework. I should have done this. I should have done that because I have a high internal locus of control.
Yeah.
And so therefore I am going to blame myself for that, which is, I mean, it's my opinion because but I think that's the way that you should look at things, right? You should, if something went wrong in your life, don't blame everybody else. Blame yourself for not being more prepared.
I mean, that could go bad too if you're just blaming yourself constantly. So like I said, you need a balance.
Yes. Doug H says, not everything is in your control, but how you respond, it always stays in your control.
That's right.
Um,
Say, look at mistakes as learning opportunities. Sure, we're human. We make mistakes. Great. we can't dwell on it. That's not going to get us anywhere.
For sure.
What'd you learn from it? What can you do different? Move forward.
Right. But one thing that I want to take credit for is the absolute dominating success of the Wake Up America show and the Stonegate Pictures LLC, our business. We are absolutely killing it, and we're super excited because
that is within our control.
It is within our absolutely. Yeah. It is within our locus of control. Stephanie, it's time to talk about one of the reasons we're so successful.
Oh.
It's because of our friends over at Lear Capital.
It's within our control?
It is. It is. You need to take control of your financial future, right? If at the end of the year this year, the stock market continues to tank and the economy doesn't do well and Joe Biden gets us into World War III, there's one decision that you will have made that you will not regret. And that's visiting our friends at Lear Capital.
That's right.
And the best way to get in touch with them these days is to give them a call. I know, you're saying to yourself,
they like to hear your sweet, sweet pillow talk voice.
Your dulcet tones. Call them at 1-800-885-2175. It's time. Today's the day to actually sit down and say, you know what? Maybe I've got a family, or I'm planning for a family. I'm just planning for a financial future that's secure.
An apocalypse.
Right, the apocalypse, right? If you have a high external locus of control. But here's the thing. I'm not a paranoid type, but I am also kind of, I've got a little prepperish mindset as well. And for that reason, right, I'm going to say that potentially sometimes that the rustling in the grass could be a leopard. It's a good idea to be prepared. That leopard could be inflation. That leopard could be World War III.
I saw a coyote walking across our road yesterday.
Did you really just call it a coyote?
A coyote. We're here in Missouri.
The Wake Up America show is brought to you in part by Lear Capital. Our friends at Lear Capital sell gold, silver, as well as gold and silver IRAs. You can hold physical metals in your IRA. Let us show you how by visiting us at learaustin.com. That's LEARAUSTIN.com. If you choose to call them, tell them Austin Peterson sent you. Call 1-800-885-2175. Make visiting Lear Capital and talking to them and building a business relationship with them part of your plan to prevent a snake in the grass.
That's right.
Yes, that's right. Lear Capital. LearAustin.com or 1-800-885-2175. If you call that number, they'll be really nice to you. I might even get to talk to my friend Rachel, who used to work for Ron Paul. Okay.
Ron Paul loves gold.
Ron Paul, save our constitutional rights. Ron Paul, start a revolution. All right, we're going to go take a real quick commercial break. When we get back, it's time for us to talk about the news, which is what we've been avoiding. A short girl weighs 170 pounds and says that she's beautiful. And who are we to disagree?
Exactly.
Follow the world and the 7 seas. Everybody looking for something.
Moving on. Move on.
Keep your head up. Hold your head up.
Do-do-do-do.
Want an engaging website to boost your business? You're just a click away from 5-star Fiverr talent. Hundreds of freelancer skills like web design. Head to Fiverr.com today and get something started.
American conservatism is distinct, like America is distinct from the United Kingdom. American conservatism's roots comes out of the Wild West, out of pioneerism. The difference between American conservatives and European conservatives is that Americans are cowboys. We are that God, guns, gold, and girls. It's wild here, and we should stay that way. We shouldn't allow a European version of conservatism to come and infect us here. We like it wide open spaces here, deep in the heart of Texas and all that.
Hey there, it's your favorite Vice President Joe Biden. I wanted to talk to you today about the Wake Up America show, the best source for all your political news and commentary. But before I get started, let me just make sure I have all my notes in order. Okay, where was I? All right, the Wake Up America show. It's a great way to stay informed and make your voice heard. Boy, what was I saying again? Oh, right. The Wake Up America show. It's important that we all stay engaged and knowledgeable about what's going on in our country and, the thing. But hold on, where was I going with all this? Oh, Oh, yeah. The Wake Up America Show. It's a fantastic resource. And if you really want to make a difference, man, you can sign up to be a monthly donor at wakeupAmericaShow.com/support. Now, where was I? Oh, that's right, the Wake Up America Show. So if you want to stay woke and support a great cause, head on over to wakeupAmericaShow.com/support and sign up to be a monthly donor today. And if you're feeling generous, you can even give a donation in my name. Thanks for listening, and keep on keeping on, America. Come on, man.
Buttigieg go down 10 days before he put out a statement acknowledging it.
Yeah.
This is Trump country. He won by 40 points. He is a president for all Americans. I believe that, but he needs to show that he is. It was time for him to be.
I don't know why they would ever vote for him, for somebody who, by the way, he placed someone with deep ties to the chemical industry in charge of the EPA's Chemical Safety Office. That's who you voted for in that district. Donald Trump, who reduces all safety. He did in those days.
Donald Trump, who reduces all safety. Welcome back to the Wake Up America Show with Austin Peterson. I'm AP, and you're watching me and my lovely wife, Stephanie Peterson, who's joining us in studio today. Hey, Steffi, how you doing?
Hello.
Nice to see you.
I'm doing fabulous.
Thanks so much. Joy Behar, laying the blame for the train derailment and disaster out in Ohio, for the people of Ohio who live there who voted for it. I mean, imagine telling Democrats in New York City on 9/11 saying, hey, you voted for Democrats. We've had a weak government, weak foreign policy. That's what you get when you vote for Democrats. And, 9/11, they're New Yorkers. You voted for Democrats. That's what you get.
Yeah. I mean, why can't we compare the two, right?
I think so. I was kind of excited to see that we got a bunch of people watching us over on Rumble this morning live. Nice to see you. Let's shout out to all the friends.
Over on Rumble.
Rumble down in there and the pit of my stomach.
It's all the people who love Trump.
Yeah, I think so. Well, they probably were interested in the Joy Behar topic, which is why I posted that up for you guys. I saw a buddy over there, Hammerlager, this morning. Sent us a good morning. Nice to see you, Hammerlager. Thanks so much for joining us. If you're watching us over on Rumble this morning, we're super grateful to have you over there. But if you're asking yourself, hey, how come there's nobody chatting over here? We've got a nice big audience over on YouTube, and it's a great place to hang out. I know if you're on Rumble, you probably don't like YouTube, and that's okay. That's fine. Stay on Rumble if you like. But if you like interaction and live chat, and you can see on the screen, we've got the live chat over there. I can't pull the chat from Rumble into the live chat. I can only pull it from Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook.
Gotcha.
At this point in time. Hopefully that will change. But if you want to hang out with the Cantina crew and have your comments featured, then you can do it over on YouTube. Just an FYI. All right, so let's talk about the news. All the news you can use.
A 170-pound woman.
Yeah, I just saw this. It just kind of made me laugh because the headline when I saw it was like that this woman was like, she's like, jaws are dropped whenever whenever a man walks, sees me when I walk by and all this kind of stuff. And I was just kind of like, well, that's a little bit, arrogant, let's I was like, all right, well, let's talk.
She wants to be noticed.
Well, of course she does. She wants the attention here. So anyways, I'm going to transition over to our Twitter weirdness file so you guys can see a picture. I'm going to pull her up. I'll have to widen it up a little bit so you guys can.
It up over here.
Well, because unfortunately.
Big.
Well, so she's honestly, she's not like that big or anything like that. But I mean, the thing is that she's the picture frame itself. Okay, hold on. Let me widen the picture frame. She's just not visible in it. Anyways, so she said, whoa, geez, look at those arms. All right, so she's.
Let's see, you're commenting.
Well,
She says people say Jesus.
She's big. Well, she's a big girl, right? But so anyway, so she's not a teeny weeny skinny model, they say, right? She's a swimmer though. But if you look at her, so she's 5'5" and she's 170 pounds. And the Sun, the U.S. Sun, is editorializing here and says all rippling muscles.
I don't really see that.
Maybe.
Are you down there with a picture of her arm up?
Yeah.
Okay. When you're all muscle, it doesn't look like that. So
No.
she's not lean muscle.
No. But I mean,
she's got fat over the muscle.
Right there. Let's call it marbling, if you will. Like we'll call it marbling.
Yes.
We'll call it fat. Because we can't say that word anymore.
Right, because she definitely does not look like a bodybuilder who's
no.
competing.
We're going to call this marbling. Marbling, yes. So, but it does feel a little bit like a cope, if you will. A little bit of a cope here, right? Because she's like
trying to make herself feel better?
Muscle, yes. Yeah, trying to make herself feel better here, which is, that's fine. I understand, you want to make yourself feel better. It's we all have to have kind of like as positive a self-image of ourselves as we can have, while also trying not to be delusional, if you will. So I mean,
she is young, so she's probably carrying her weight way better than someone who's not in their prime.
In their prime,
Nikki Haley probably wouldn't be 170 pounds and look that good.
No, Nikki Haley would probably not look that good.
She's pretty usually.
Usually, if you're 5'5" and 170 pounds, again, she is muscly. Right? She does have a lot of strength and a lot of muscles. When you're a swimmer, you do tend to get that almost grotesquely powerful body.
I mean, I'm 5'3" and 115 pounds.
Oh, Stephanie.
So I'm not worried about telling people about my weight. I'm very proud of it because I was just at the doctor and they said I'm fine.
That must be nice because I'm definitely not proud of my weight. It's definitely something I'm going to work on, which is why I'm glad that we're going to start talking about our new health products that we're going to be talking about on Monday. So
that's the thing though. I wonder if when she goes to the doctor, if they say she's a healthy weight, because a lot of bodybuilders have this problem where they go to the doctor and they're like, you're obese. And they're like, but I'm all muscle. I lift super heavy weights. And so it's like, is being super muscular the same thing as obese?
Right. We need to, I saw on Twitch, there's a new friend of ours who joined us named Inappropriate Innuendo. And honestly, that's a perfect screen name for this topic.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome, by the way, Inappropriate Innuendo.
We
Thank
love
you so much.
inappropriate innuendos.
Yeah, and we love our friends over on Twitch because we don't get a whole lot of people over there on Twitch. So it's nice to see some friends over there. We stream on Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, Rumble, YouTube, and I remember where else.
And we were doing it on Instagram, but not anymore.
Yeah, Chris Morrill said, yeah, we're not doing it on Instagram just because it's just a little bit too difficult to style everything. Chris Morrill says, who cares? She's pretty. So there you go. So Chris doesn't care.
I mean,
Chris doesn't care. I mean, he's good. You know what?
It's just personal preference.
That's right. Absolutely. I'm not denigrating. I'm just saying. She looks like
I mean, she's not ugly by any means.
No,
I'm sure she's very attractive, and she probably gets a lot of partners that want to be with her. I can see that. She's very strong. Her legs are strong. We'll just say that. Sexual innuendo.
Yeah, I remember I watched this. So Louis Theroux, Louis Theroux?
Oh, yes.
So he used to do these documentaries on the BBC. We would go what Weird Wednesdays or something. And he did one where he went for to talk about female wrestlers, female bodybuilders.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it was awesome because there were all of these I guess you could say there were simps, but there were a lot of men in the audience who really were into these very muscly women.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of, I mean, it's a fetish, right? For some, that's fine. I don't think that's weird or anything. It's, people are attracted to different types of bodies.
Sure.
But what was funny about it, and you can watch it, I think it's on YouTube, the Louis Theroux women's wrestling. You see the guys who are attracted to these women are they're not muscle guys themselves.
Oh, so they want to be protected by their women, maybe?
I mean, I kind of think is that funny though? Yeah, right? So it's they want to be smothered by death by snoo snoo is what they call it.
By snoo snoo? Snooze.
Okay, so Steffi's never seen Futurama. So there's this scene is that like the guy, the creator of Simpsons, has this show Futurama, and in one of the scenes, one of the episodes, there's like these Amazonian women, and they're gonna like kill, like they decided they're gonna kill the guy, but they're gonna kill him by having sex with him until he dies.
Oh.
So death by snooze.
I mean, a lot of those women are on supplements, possibly testosterone, so I'm sure their sex drives are mighty high. They can last for a long time.
Death by snooze. Death by snooze.
They can raise you up over their head. All sorts of things.
I'm just loving this. Oh my god. Oh my god. This went off the rails pretty fast. Death by snooze. Their legs could crack your head open, says Chris Morrill, and you'd probably like it. Exactly.
There you go.
God. Oh my god.
Sadists out there?
Yeah, all the sadists out there. AP beat me to it, says Doug H. Yes, I did. Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, if you get a chance, watch the Louis Theroux documentary. I think it's only an hour long.
We need to watch it this weekend.
Yeah, well, I've showed it to you. I showed
Really?
you all Louis Theroux's things
Yeah.
because they're good. But we can rewatch it. It's only like an hour. But it's just funny because you would expect that the type of men who would be attracted to these muscle women would be like muscle guys, right? Muscle guys and muscle girls. But the men who are really into these muscle girls, like they're like, yeah, I just really think they're beautiful. Oh, they're gorgeous, like little simps.
Picturing like Napoleon Dynamite. What was his name?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or he's simping for this big woman.
Yeah, exactly. LaFonda. Right. It's very much like
yeah.
God damn, this is hilarious. All right. If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show with Austin Peterson, wondering what the hell is going on,
Chubby chasers exist.
Chubby, yes, they're absolutely.
Usually they're smaller men.
Like big girls need love, you know. As a matter of fact, did you see? And this was fun. The controversy as soon as I left town, what blew up on the AP for Liberty shop, the neon guns thing.
Yes.
Oh God, I think probably some of our listeners, like, they may not be caught up on Instagram with all the drama, but do you want to kind of like let them know what happened with his DM? So tell us.
I was DM'd. Oh, I think I deleted it now, but you had posted it on your Instagram. Yeah, this guy actually messaged me and was upset that you made a shirt with assault weapons on it, and the fact that I'm connected to it, he no longer wanted to be associated with me, so I'm guilty by association with you. Here, let me look up what it actually said. I didn't respond to him. I deleted it. It wasn't worth the fight. So he said, unrow-followed due to that insane gun shirt.
Right.
What WTF is wrong with AP, and by extension, you? I'm sure if there were laws, only the bad people would then have guns. But promoting assault weapons is just wholly unnecessary. I mean, I didn't even know I played a big part in that.
So this is hilarious. So this guy sends my wife, Stephanie, a DM saying that, like, what the F is wrong with you? But with AP and by extension you, right? Guilty by association, which, you're for gun rights as well. So it's not like it's a big surprise.
Just not super loud about it, probably.
Right. And like, I love guns. Like I'm really into firearms and collecting them and all that kind of stuff. And so he sets his DM out because I made this shirt, and I've been for weeks, and it started out because I just really wanted to make something for Chris Morrill.
Right.
I wanted to make a Hawaiian shirt for Chris Morrill, which I did. And like, that was my first attempt. But then I was like, boy, I really want to do something that's like really splashy, and not that the giant, rooster on the back of the shirt, neon wasn't flashing. It certainly is.
Yeah.
Right. But I wanted something that was just, I don't know, that kind of like was covered in like firearms. All right. So I made this shirt, the gun running shortstop, the retro neon firearms baseball jersey, and I had so much fun making this.
Oh my gosh, you should have seen him designing it.
Oh my
He
God.
literally had gun clip art on top of each other. We could not fit all of the guns on the art piece.
Yeah, so it was fun. Yeah, it was hilarious because, I thought, because most corporations are woke these days, I thought that there was no way that if there was going to be like gun clip art, that it would just be like a little water gun or something.
Exactly.
But when I was in Adobe, it was like, dude, we're talking about like very rare firearms of World War II were there, machine guns and different things. And I was just like, oh my God, I was like giggling like a schoolboy, like guns. So
You really were.
and then
You're not exaggerating.
and then I went and found like the color codes to make them neon, and then I found a skull with hearts for eyes and stuff. The MP5, a Glock 19, a minigun, a mortar, a flintlock, a 38 snub-nosed rifle, a Tommy gun, an atomic bomb, right? Mounted machine guns, technical machine guns on the back of trucks. These are like, oh, a bazooka, right? A Luger pistol, right? A Mac 10 machine gun, a submachine gun, an AR-15, like every single, an AK-47, like an UMP 47, all of these guns. And so I was like, okay, well, when I first posted it, it didn't get much attention. People were like, Austin, posting more swag from his shop, no biggie. But then when I posted the DM on Instagram, that's when everybody blew up. And so then people were like, well, can I get this on a bikini? And I was like, yes. So there were some bikini chicks who bought the bikini. So I put it on a bikini.
Bikini sales. I made a mom bod onesie.
Yeah,
one piece.
Yeah, let me click VU off so people can see it. So we put it on a whole bunch of different items. We've got cell phone cases. We've got bikinis. I guess for some reason we don't have the it's not advertised on this page. I'll put it on here, but
yeah, I made a mug.
So get this
design.
Yeah, so get this. So a male model from New York City contacted me and said he wanted pajama pants.
Wow.
So I was like, I can do that, pajama pants. So I made pajama pants, and for like Chris Morrill and for others who are into the firearms, for like the Hawaiian shirt, I put it on a Hawaiian shirt as well, so you can get like the Hawaiian shirt design. My favorite though is like the baseball jersey. I ordered one for myself, and I've got it coming in the mail soon. Stephanie, you put it on like the spiral notebook,
a journal,
and then we've got it on a mug and things. I'm gonna put it on a hat and some different things later today, just because this design has really got people.
Yeah, it's so fun.
Yeah, it's fun and it's funny, and it triggers the libs. It triggers the liberals. So
it looks good on anything. A blanket.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things we can do for it. We're going to put them on some different stuff today. Disney would probably disapprove, though, says Chris Morrill. Yeah, I need to get all the shirts by the next time I go to CO for a weekend. Yes, get yourself a shirt at apforlibertyshop.com. That's apforlibertyshop.com. Oh, and by the way, we are going to offer our Calvin, the Coolest President book, signed copies for sale soon.
That's right. So you can get it at the apforlibertyshop.com.
Yeah, we'll sell them.
You can get a copy at Amazon.
Right.
But the real cool stuff is at apforlibertyshop.com.
Exactly. So we can get all your fun schwaggity swag. All right, we're going to take one last commercial break before we go. And when we get back, we'll talk about the news, I guess. It's been kind of a weird show. We'll be back with more on the Wake Up America show at wakeupamericashow.com.
The Cantina crew. This is Elon Musk, the CEO of Twitter, and I just want to say thank you for watching the Wake Up America show. I've decided that Austin Peterson will be the new CEO of Twitter.com, effective immediately. First thing to do, though, is I've got to go and blast off into space.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive, and if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty. I am not a perfect messenger, but I think I'm a damn good one. This is a replica of our first president's flintlock pistol. You have my full support, my respect, and my gun.
I think that the heart of my philosophy is much more libertarianism than well, that's the fashionable word these days, I guess. A conservative is no longer just that. He's a libertarian and always has been.
Yet any time you and I question the schemes of the do-gooders, we're denounced as being against their humanitarian goals. They say we're always against things, we're never for anything.
is fascism? Fascism is private ownership, private enterprise, but total government control and regulation.
Well, the trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant. It's just that they know so much that isn't so. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
The conservative, so-called, is the one that says less government. Get off my back, get out of my pocket, and let me have more control of my own destiny.
What would happen if I had to pick up the phone, call 911 for one of my family members or one of my neighbors? What would I do if no one was on the other end to respond? What if there was no 911? So you can be a part of the solution.
Anybody can be a firefighter. Male, female, younger, older.
We have school teachers. We have leaders in business.
Is me, you, anyone that wants to be. There is no typical firefighter.
Do you hate the deep state? Do you reject the Antichrist in all his ways? Do you believe that aliens controlled LBJ to assassinate John F. Kennedy? Did you know that the shot can put chemicals in you that will make you more sensitive to 5G? Do you love America? Do you want more freedom? Do you like smoking hot red-headed libertarians? Then the AP for Liberty shop is for you! Check out all the awesome new merch and have a happy new year! Fight the deep state, reject the Antichrist! Visit AP for Liberty shop and get your patriotic merchandise now, or the deep state wins!
Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. Happy Friday. How are you feeling today? Good, good. Nice to see you all here with us. Steffi's joining us in-house for Freedom Friday. Nice to see you, Steffi.
Cool.
Give her a round of applause as well. We wanted to introduce people to this idea because I think a lot of people don't know about this, but because I see a lot of our friends really like buying items from the shop.
Oh, yeah.
Well, here's the deal. So if you're interested, we actually have this influencer program.
Ah, yeah.
Yes.
I used to love being influencers for different companies.
Right. So if you, especially if you have a bunch of products from the AP for Liberty shop, if you visit the shop today, check it out at the very top. It says influencers and click on that. And it's going to take you to this Become an Ambassador tab. And essentially how it works is that if you get people to purchase things from the shop using your unique code that you'll get when you sign up to be an ambassador, you get discounts at the shop yourself.
Okay.
You get $5 per sale.
Really?
Yeah.
Even if it's like a keychain or something?
Well, no, so it has to be at least $10.
Oh, okay,
but
okay.
90% of all of the purchases are over $10. We very rarely sell just like
Wow, $5 is really good per sale because the other companies I have been an ambassador for, I got like maybe 10%.
Yeah. So and that'll usually be a little less than $5
Yeah.
on the average sale. So you get a minimum of $5 per sale.
Yeah.
Okay. As long as it's over $10, which 90% of all transactions are over $10. Right. We very rarely sell a single keychain, but sometimes it does happen. So anyways,
right.
But it's $5 per sale, and you get a discount, and the person who is buying it gets a discount as well. So it's a great way to make money to help the shop grow. And if you've got like, an awesome shirt from the shop, you take a picture of it, you post it up with the link and say, hey, if you want this, here's the item code, get it for yourself.
Yeah.
Right? Then they get a little discount. You get $5. And we grow. The shop grows.
And we definitely share your pictures or videos, whatever you make for us. So it's like you'll be in the spotlight on the AP page.
Yeah, for sure. So if you're interested and you want to be, get a little bit closer of a relationship to me and Stephanie, then join our ambassador program for the AP for Liberty shop. And then when you buy stuff, you get a discount. And also you make money whenever you make a sale.
Oh, yeah.
And
it's really nice extra income.
Yeah. And a couple of our influencers do very well. So we've got two that are really cranking it out. And
I see those $5 checks going out when I look at the notifications.
Yeah, for sure. So you can help do that too. If you want to become a product ambassador, if you have AP for Liberty shop merch, then it's great. And no, not everybody. You don't have to necessarily look like Ophelia here with the Ludwig von Mises bikini. That's just a good example of that. Anyways.
I'm sure even that 170-pound girl could sell bikinis.
She could probably sell
She'd like to be an influencer. Hey, hit us up.
She could probably sell a lot of bikinis, honestly.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Right. Doug is saying, I'm going to get talked into this, aren't I? I did get my sweatshirt. I will have to tweet a picture of it. Yeah, if you do.
Yeah.
So if you are interested in earning a little bit of extra income, right? And if you're already purchasing from the AP for Liberty shop anyway,
then
you might as well, because if you're posting pictures of you wearing your merch, right? Everybody benefits, right? We all make money. Rising tide lifts all boats. So
Right. Another ask that we have, if you have received our Kelvin the Coolest President book, please leave us a review on Amazon. I think we have about 5 reviews already that are really high stars, and so that really helps us.
Yeah, I'm sorry that we've been doing so many asks on this show. Usually I try to keep it to like 1 or 2 asks per show. But if you did buy the Calvin the Coolest President book, please leave us a review on Amazon. And by the way, 5 stars. Please leave 5 stars.
I know.
We already had somebody leave us 4.
So be honest. Like, if you really thought something's wrong with the book, I mean, again, it's a learning experience. We're not perfect.
If you really thought something was wrong with the book, then please keep it to yourself and leave us a 5-star review.
Just DM us and tell us how horrible we are, like that guy who DM'd me.
If you didn't like it and you don't want to leave a 5-star, if you don't want to give it 5 stars, maybe it's, just don't say anything at all.
Right. If you have nothing nice to say, just don't leave a review.
Yeah, and while we're asking, why not, if you listen to the podcast, the audio podcast, why not leave us 5 stars over on iTunes as well? Podcast.
Really funny story about, Tim Yao.
Yeah, let's hear it.
He has a coffee shop in Michigan, and I went there before I knew him. Okay, so I went there. I left a pretty critical review.
Oh no! Yes, tell this story. This is good.
I believe it was on Yelp or Google reviews or something
from Michigan.
Yeah, and so back then, before I even knew him, I didn't like the tea or whatever drink I got, and so I was typing about it, and I said, it's called farmhouse coffee. And so I was like, this isn't a farmhouse. We're in the middle of a parking lot. And so I was just like, I was being stupid. And so then a few years later at an event, he came up to me and was like, I have a bone to pick with you because I was stupid enough to take a photo of myself in the review and post it. And so he's like, I saw the review that you posted about my place. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. So I went back and I literally changed the review because I felt horrible. So just know that there are real people with hearts behind these companies.
Yeah.
So know that what you say really does affect
But
them.
if you really actually have like a bad customer experience and stuff, it's good to know that, right? And to let people know that, because at the end of the day, if somebody's doing bad customer service, you need to they need to know that.
Absolutely. But don't just be nitpicky to be stupid.
No,
it's like I was just being critical and silly, and I really should have thought about how I was impacting
Well, it's just
people.
funny because you didn't know Tim Yao yet.
I didn't.
Right. And now we know him. He's a buddy of ours.
So you never know who you're going to meet up with.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So you can't burn your bridges. Oh, is this LearAustin.com?
No.
What is this? Oh, okay.
You know what this is? This music?
This was the theme song to Lear Capital.
This is a theme song, but it's not the theme song for Lear Capital. The theme song for Lear Capital is this.
Oh, it's much sexier. Huh?
Well, it's more 1970s disco. Right. But the theme for this is
that the goodbye song? Goodbye, Austin. Goodbye. Did you used to sing that in school?
Good night, ladies. I'm going to leave you now. Yes. I can't imagine the mindset the thought process behind the people who watch this shit, says Herbivore the Carnivore.
Oh, wow. Talking about reviews. I mean, hello. We are people with hearts.
Yeah.
But you know what? We believe that not everything is within our control.
It's, not everything. That's an external locus
About
control.
how you
But know what?
react to what is
Here's
done
the thing.
to you.
If this show is shit,
Yes.
it's my fault. Honestly, it's true.
Blame him.
It's
Blame
nobody
us.
else's
Yeah,
fault,
yeah.
right? Because I have a high internal locus of control,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If you have a high external locus of control, then it's your fault the show is shit.
Yeah. But maybe it's my fault. I'm here too.
Actually,
Contributing.
no, it's my fault. Anyways,
To allow me on the show. Maybe I just shouldn't come back. Should we cancel Family Friday, guys?
you know what? I think
No, God, please, no.
I don't think they're gonna go for that. I don't think so. No, they're not. I think that they really want us to see us grow,
Yeah.
don't you? Right? Perhaps we can interest him in a monthly membership, says Chris Moore. That's a great idea.
We have won over some people before who were haters. Remember that guy
Sure.
who called in and then he became a subscriber?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So unfortunately, I think though we're not going to have time to do that today.
Yeah.
But it was a great show. Did you like having us back? Back on the watch, right? You missed me for a few days.
We can't make everybody happy, and that's okay.
That's right. You can't please everybody, and you shouldn't.
Maybe you should go watch Shekinah.
Yes. Maybe he would like
Shekinah, whatever her
Shekinah.
name is.
Shekinah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shekinah. Stupid.
It rhymes with other words.
Just kidding, Shekinah. Just kidding. The text messages I will try and get to next week. Let's see how we'll get to.
You got text.
Yeah, a few more, but I wasn't able to read them. We got to run. It was a beautiful show. You're a beautiful woman, and you are
Thank
a
you.
beautiful audience. We appreciate all of our listeners, even the ones who write us bad reviews on the Wake Up America
Yeah,
show.
you still help us grow
Yeah.
because we post your mean DMs.
For sure. Let's say exactly. The more hate we get, the more we post it, the
Please.
more money we make. So, the haters pay our
Because
bills.
people are more motivated by hate than love.
All right, let's give ourselves a big round of applause. One for Stephanie. Big round of applause. Thank you, Stephanie. Say goodbye. Let's give a round of applause for our silent partner, Nathan Clark, in the back. Raise the roof for Nathan. Nathan's back there working on. Exactly. He's over there working on an email for AP for Liberty Shop. And how about a little applause for me? Huh?
Three for Austin.
AP? All right. Well, we'll be back on Monday. We're excited to see you then. Sorry that I was gone for a few days, but I'm back, baby. And then we're going to Japan. We must be for 11 days. We'll figure out something. All right, we'll see you on Monday on the Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
I like shooting things, but whenever I can't shoot something, I like to cut things. My life isn't all about shooting and stabbing and cutting, though. Sometimes I have to do actual work, but when I work, I still like to have fun. And there's nothing less fun than trying to cut with a crappy knife. Thankfully, from the ancient sect of Christian knights, who also loved cutting and stabbing, comes a new implement that has received my personal blessing, the Templar knife. Like the ancient sword of Excalibur, you don't choose a Templar knife, it chooses you. You just decide what kind you want on the website first, however, and then order it online, and then it chooses you. The Templar knife comes in a variety of shapes. As a man of culture and taste, I have decided I will never use a terrible knife again. And thanks to the inspiration provided by this excellent product, I have decided to launch a new crusade against anyone using less than superior knives. Join me, brothers and sisters, by visiting uppercuttactical.com/pages/Templar-knives. That's a lot of slashes. For that, you'll need a Templar knife. For 10% off, use code AP for Liberty and join me in a quest for glory, for liberty, for Christendom, for the Templar knife. Get yours today. Fire.
Hello, this is Barack Obama, and let me tell you why Austin Peterson stinks, and you should never pay attention to anything that he has to say. First of all, he's a libertarian, and we all know libertarians are idiots. They don't realize how important government is to everything that we do. I recently became aware that Austin has opened up a libertarian shop at apforlibertyshop.com. Now, I'm asking you as a personal favor to me that you never ever visit apforlibertyshop.com. With all of the great Liberty merchandise there, the last thing that we need to do is to get people spreading this message around the country, because then they might start thinking that they don't need government. And that's the last thing that good Democrats like us want. So if you love democracy, like me, and hate freedom, then don't visit AP for Liberty Shop. Like I said, whatever you do, do not visit apforlibertyshop.com. I'm Barack Obama, and I approve this message.
Want an engaging website to boost your business? You're just a click away from 5-star Fiverr talent. Hundreds of freelancer skills like web design. Head to Fiverr.com today and get something started.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I would remind you that extremism in the defense of liberty is no vice.
It is better to settle these matters in the courts than on the streets, and new laws are needed at every level. But law alone cannot make men see right.